good sound.
How many stats we got? I think young men online, unfortunately, they've inherited this stereotype of I'm okay, I won't talk about anything.
I think there is a stigma around men that they're not particularly good and also shouldn't really speak up about how they feel, how they think, how they should feel and how they should think.
When I was younger, like social media was quite new, I felt quite pressurized to see what people were doing, and then it made me feel like maybe there was some sort of inadequacy in the way that I was going about my life.
It feels like often when people think of influencers or the impact of social media, we tend to either think of young girls or women. I feel that a lot of men sometimes don't know how to engage in these types of conversations.
It is a tricky one. I think the online space is extremely confusing for young men.
As advertisers, we play a huge part in the way that people perceive men, women.
It is quite difficult because everyone has different and diverse views as to like what is a healthy masculinity, at what spectrum or level.
I do think that stat is quite staggering, but I don't think it's that surprising, weirdly.
I'm actually surprised it's probably not a little bit higher.
I think there's a lot of standards that are being set, or there's expectations that are being set, and you don't know who's setting them and you don't know the reasons why they're setting them.
I'm not surprised that people are struggling with mental health, but I'm probably more surprised that many people are aware of it, which I guess is a good thing.
There's a lot of stats that show that young women think that social media has a negative impact on mental health or impacts mental health, but I just don't see why there would be a difference between different genders.
We kind of like lack diversity in a way. People that I'm seeing on social are not the people that look like me.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you gave every man a piece of paper and a pen and said, write down what it is to be a man, you'd get, what, 4 billion different answers?
I don't have the same body, I don't have the same skin tone, I don't have the same hairstyles, but these are the types of people that are in my algorithm at the moment.
This idea of being like uber masculine, or you've got to be successful, you've got to be worked out, bollocks, absolute bollocks.
There is a bit of a stigma that by a certain age you have to have certain things that you've checked off or certain things that you've done. It's okay to, be 28, be 29, be in your 30s and not have everything figured out, but actually enjoying the process of figuring something out, I think, is the positivity or the positive spin that you can put on it.
I think there have been more conversations around body positivity and size inclusivity and making sure you work with different influencers that represent different body types. And I think one of the things we covered in the report is like find the balance between aspiration and attainability.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I'd probably fit into the 55%.
Yeah, it just depends on who you're actually inspired by or aspire to be.
The people that get attention in the world tend to be the ones that are the most extreme. But I think overall, I think it's more of a job for us to do with helping social platforms understand that actually we don't always just want to see extreme negativity at all stages and levels of extreme opinions and things online.
I think that this small number of toxic male role models is greatly outnumbered by people putting out positive messages, calling for an openness of these topics. That's what's important.
Showing strength in different ways, whether that's being an emotionally supportive partner or a friend or standing up for people. I think there's loads of ways for men to show strength in different ways than what it used to be.
Totally. I agree with that. I think as soon as you're working with the everyday person, it actually creates much more affinity with the audiences in that brand because it's someone that I can relate to. I look like that, I do that myself.
Rather than telling people what to do, it should be more about creating a space or a safe space for people to exchange these experiences and stories and personal journeys.
For me, I'd like to see more like short kings or like darker skinned people.
When we asked about what kind of positive qualities there are that they see in role models, it was things like happy relationships and empathy and compassion rather than like entrepreneurialism and finance and wealth.
We can learn from mistakes, but just don't be afraid to make them in the first place, rather than just kind of like not representing, not talking about masculinity, about men's mental health.
We want men to feel encouraged and empowered to be positive influencers on our society.
I think personally the good values I would say of being a man are the same as being a woman. Because I would say it would just be like competent, be someone that like you can firstly rely on, be someone who's honest, be someone who, you know, careful and also willing to take risks.
From a brand's perspective, they totally need to do the research to make sure they're working with people that can give a positive perception of male masculinity moving forwards.